been subscribed to my channel for a while, then you might have noticed that I've been missing for about the last 6 months. And if you're new here, welcome. You picked the perfect day to join me. So, for the past 6 months, I took a deliberate, strategic step back from YouTube. And honestly, it was one of the best business decisions that I have ever made. So today I want to talk to you about why I stepped away, what I've been doing behind the scenes, and most importantly, what it means for you and your business. If you're a woman over a certain age and you are running a business and you are feeling overwhelmed by the day to day grind, the numbers, or the lack of systems, you might be exactly where I was 6 months ago, ready for a pivot, ready for something to change. So grab a coffee and let's talk about the power of the pivot. Why stepping back is sometimes the only way to move forward. And how you can start looking at your business not just as a job, but as an asset that you can actually control. And I say 6 months, but it's actually been something I've been wanting to do for a couple of years. But procrastination got the better of me. But I definitely honed into it 6 months ago and said, no, we're going to do this. So let's get right into it. So, where have I actually been? Well, for years, my identity and my business were deeply tied to being an accountant. And I loved it. I loved the numbers. I loved the clarity that the numbers provided. And I loved helping my clients and still love helping my clients to make sense of their finances. This is what I'm all about. But over time, I started to notice a pattern, especially with the women that I was working with. You see, as women over a certain age, we are often juggling everything. We are what they call the sandwich generation. We're running a business, we're raising kids, or we're launching our children into adulthood. We're caring for aging parents, hence the term the sandwich generation. And we're also trying to figure out our own retirement and exit strategy. And what I realized was that doing the accounting, like just crunching the numbers and handing over the reports, submitting the returns at the end of the year, wasn't enough anymore. My clients didn't just need someone to do their books, they needed someone to help them understand what those numbers actually meant for their lives, how it was going to help them in the future. They needed systems so that they could step away without the business falling apart, right? They needed a strategy to secure funding, or they needed a roadmap for how eventually they could exit their business, but on their own terms, not because they were forced to. So I realized that I didn't want to just support my clients by just sending them reports on what's happening in the past, so what's already happened in their business. I wanted to help them to build their future. So, what did I do? I took my own advice. I looked at my numbers, I looked at my systems, and I made a hard pivot. So, over the last 6 months, I have been transitioning my business away from traditional done for you accounting and fully moving into my coaching and consulting. Now, like you guys who may feel, you may be in this situation and you're feeling terrified. I was terrified because I was used to getting a certain amount of cash flow every month. But at the same time, it was also exciting. But it did require a complete overhaul of not just my own internal systems, but my own internal mindset. I needed to overhaul and do the work. But it taught me a massive lesson about what it really takes to pivot a business successfully. So here is the biggest takeaway from my own pivot. And it's the exact same thing that I see holding so many brilliant women back. And listen, you cannot successfully pivot, scale, or seek funding or just plan an exit if you do not understand the numbers in your business. So when I decided to shift into more coaching and consulting, I couldn't just wake up one day and change my website, and just start doing it. I had to look at my cash flow. I had to project how much revenue I would lose by dropping accounting because I was used to getting that, and how long it would also take to replace that income with clients. I had to know my runway. So if I didn't have financial systems in place, that pivot would be more of a reckless gamble rather than me wanting it to be an actual strategic move. And so this is where I see so many women of a certain age get stuck. You have built an incredible business. You have the expertise, but the financial side, it feels like a foreign language. Maybe you're handling a shoebox of receipts, right? That you're still giving to your accountant because you don't want to embrace software, right? Or AI. Okay. You could still be doing that. Or maybe it's just that you're looking at your bank balance to decide if you can afford to even just take on staff to hire someone, or even just know how much to pay yourself. But when you run your business that way, you're trapped into the day to day, and you can't always, or you don't think you can kind of step away to even look at what the next 6 months can look like for you. You can't easily secure a business loan because banks want to see clean, projected financials. And you certainly can't sell the business because a buyer isn't going to buy a business that only exists in your head. So, to get to the next level, whether that's a pivot, getting funding, or planning your exit strategy, you have to transition from being the doer in your business, the person who does everything, apart from the actual CEO who needs to step away from the business, have a meeting with yourself, and actually remember the CEO knows their numbers. So you have to reframe that doing to now, I am actually the CEO of my business. So, what does that mean for this channel moving forward? Well, it means that I am leveling up. Okay. I am moving beyond basic numbers in terms of bookkeeping tips. And I'm moving forward this channel. I'm going to dedicate it entirely to helping you, the established businesswoman over a certain age, to take control of your financial strategy. Here is what we're going to cover in the coming weeks and months. First, financial systems. And I know I said established business, but some of you are still at the startup mindset. And some of you may still be starting up. Trust me, you will be able to learn some things from this too. So make sure that just because if you're starting up, don't think, okay, I don't have an established business. This is key tips that you're going to need to know. So as I said, financial systems. I'm going to show you how to set up simple automated systems so you always know exactly where your money is going without having to become an accountant yourself. You don't have to do that bit. If you've got an accountant, that's what they're for, right? But you also need to know for yourself. So second, funding. We're going to talk about how to get your financials bank ready or investor ready, if that's what you're looking for, so that you can access the capital you need to grow. So getting you ready, right? Third, the pivot. How to financially plan for a major shift in your business model, just like I did. And finally, for those of you who are looking to exit in the next few years, it's never too early to plan your exit. Now, whether you want to sell in 3 years or step back and let a team run it in 10 years' time, we're going to talk about how to build a business that is actually an asset that you can sell. So my goal is to help you build a business that serves your life, not the other way around. So I'm so excited to be back, and I am even more excited about this new direction. So if you are ready to stop hiding from your numbers, if you are ready to put systems in place, and if you are starting to think about what the next chapter of your business looks like, you're in exactly the right place. So I want to hear from you. I want to hear from you in the comments below. So tell me, what is the biggest financial blind spot in your business right now? Is it cash flow? Is it pricing? Or is it just knowing where to start? Drop it in the comments because your answers are going to help me create the exact videos that you need. So make sure now that you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next video. I'm going to be looking at diving straight into the first financial system that every female founder needs to have in place. So, thank you so much for sticking with me, even during my break. And it is great to be back. And I'll see you in the next video.